Okay, so Anthony Smith believes that everybody should be boycotting Jake Paul's fights, believes that he's a piece of shit, believes that he should go get fucked. Anthony Smith went in hard, and rightly so, in on Jake Paul. I do believe Jake Paul is a complete and utter piece of shit. I think that Anthony Smith, whilst I'm not the biggest fan of him myself, I can't stand watching him on the Bisping podcast. Won't even allow it to show up on my timeline. If I hear Bisping's voice, it's boom, mute straight away. An absolute shill. Good fighter, great fighter. Have his book, read his book, love his story, everything like that. But just over the last couple of years, he started to dip the toe into identity politics. Not for me. Get fucked. I don't like jumping on bandwagons. I don't like pointing the finger at people, telling them what to wear, what to do, what to put in their bodies, what not to put in their bodies. Get fucked, man. As for Anthony Smith, I've heard him talking with Bisping, and this is one of the ones, this was a trigger point that made me turn him off completely, when the two of them were shitting on Colby Covington, and Anthony Smith was kind of referring to Bisping as if the two of them were on the same sort of level in terms of being fighters. And he was like, I just don't think that Colby has the fighter heart like you and me. You know, when that cage door closes, we go to war. And I'm like, man, I've seen a couple of Anthony Smith fights. He's an okay fighter. This is the point that I'm getting to here, though, with this whole Jake Paul situation, that I think is being missed, not only by Anthony Smith, but I think it's been missed by people across the MMA community. All the big hitters on YouTube that talked about this fight. And here we go. Here's the hot take. Here's the red pill moment. I don't think Jake Paul is a great fighter. I don't think that he needs respect. I don't think that he's earned respect. Fuck that. Fuck that. What I think is that just like every facet of life, the MMA community, the boxing community, sports in general, have been gaslighting people for so many years to believe that you have to do 10 years of torture to get to the top, to the upper echelons of these sports. And it's just not the case, and we've seen it over and over again. And when we see it, it totally exposes these absolute and utter despotic losers for what they are. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's take boxing, for instance. Best boxers that I can imagine are Floyd Mayweather and Tyson Fury. No one comes close to them for me. You see Deontay Wilder, he's not a boxer, man. He's just a big lump who can throw a right hand. That's it. He haymakes his way out of fights. I don't consider him a class, top-notch boxer. He's extremely lucky, and he's got a lot of things going for him as well to push him to where he has been. That's what I believe. I think if you look at the top UFC fighters, we see the same sort of disparity in skill levels as well. Of course we do. We see Conor McGregor, biggest star in UFC. Really good left hand. Good movement. Can he wrestle? It looks like he's been learning a bit of wrestling in the last few months, but can he wrestle? No, he can't. Is he a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner? No, he isn't. Does he have a grappling skill set, a takedown defense, fighting off your back skill set that you need to be these upper echelon fighters? No, he doesn't really. But he's got an extremely good left hand. It's a piston, and it brought him to where he is, like one of the biggest world superstars in sport. That's where we are. We saw him fight Floyd Mayweather. The difference in skill was evident. Of course it was. Conor never boxed before. He was in the ring for the first time in a boxing event, and lo and behold, he held his own. Can you imagine what that fight would have looked like if Conor McGregor had a kick-ass gas tank? Can you imagine what that fight would have looked like? What did that look like to the world? Floyd Mayweather, boxing 20 years, 50-0. No one can touch him, never been punched. Unbelievable skills in terms of movement, agility. No one has touched him. Conor McGregor got in there, never boxed before. Used to be a plumber on the social welfare here in Ireland, and all of a sudden he's putting it up to the biggest fighter in the world, the best fighter on the planet in the history of the combat sports, apparently. Okay, so there's something up here, right? There's something up here. We look at football, for instance. If anybody knows football in Britain, you have players that cost 150 million that are making 350,000 euros a week to perform. And all of a sudden we introduce young players from the academy, 17, 18-year-old players who can actually step in and do the job just as well. But we keep being told by the media and by the pundits and the ex-fighters and ex-football stars that there's a slog. You got to do this long, lethargic run to become one of these top professionals. And what I am aiming at here with this video is that Jake Paul is a multi-millionaire. He's decided to be a boxer. He can afford to train all day, every day, have the best nutrition, the best sparring partners, best boxing coaches. Of course, he's going to be able to hold his own. He's like 25 years old. He's a big unit. He's got extreme muscle mass. And he's training boxing for 2 years. So it's not the case where it's like, he's improving every day, man. This is like, he's going to be a real boxer. It's like, hold your horses. Everybody would improve every day if they were training for 2 years. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to justify your position as top fighters and top professionals. Jake Paul is training for 2 years. He's training every day. He's already athletic. Of course, he's going to be able to go into a ring with a 47-year-old Anderson Silva and hold his own. Of course he is. Now, maybe you think that there's upper echelons to this, and no, man, he's jumped way ahead of everyone, even though he's never fought a boxer. But he's jumping way ahead of everyone, and he's at this level where we have to give him respect. I'm giving him no respect. I'm giving him no respect. There's 22, 23-year-old kids in my local boxing club who are training 7 days a week that would fucking destroy Jake Paul. That would destroy Jake Paul. If you put the two of them in the ring, you would notice the difference monumentally. You're telling me these 22, 23-year-old kids who are probably on social welfare, just like Conor McGregor, couldn't go in there and fight, maybe not beat Anderson Silva? That wouldn't happen. That couldn't happen. That's never happened in the history of combat sports or any other sort of sport, where you have this underdog kid who's been told over and over again that, no, man, you got to put in the time. You got to do 10 years of a hard hack to get to where you need to be. And then you got to get extremely lucky. Yes, there's the key word, luck. It's all about luck. He just so happens to be a millionaire. Jake Paul just so happens to be a millionaire. He can create his own luck. So whilst I do agree with Anthony Smith that this guy is a fucking piece of shit, we look here, it's time to boycott his fights. Maybe Anthony Smith should take a little bit of his own advice and stop boosting all these fighters up as if they are fucking gods and kings. We can't reach that level of expertise that Conor McGregor has. We can't possibly reach the skill set that Anthony Smith has. I know guys in the jiu-jitsu club that are purple and brown and black belts that would absolutely tear these people apart. Absolutely tear them apart. They're never going to get a chance. Most of them work in offices, factories and construction. They're never going to get a chance to get into the ring with a professional or an ex-professional and actually get a shot at the title. That's never going to happen. And in the meantime, what we will do is we will continue this facade and this lie that these echelons of fighters, these sports stars that are the top of their game. I'm not saying that there isn't people that are absolutely fantastic at what they do, but there's also the journeymen. There's also the guys who learn to be footballers and learn to be fighters, but don't have it inherently in them. When you think about the best fighters in the UFC roster, the very, very best, Israel Adesanya. Don't love him. I have to say I don't love him, but the dude seems to be untouchable. We'll see how it pans out when he fights Pereira. We'll see how that works out. But as of now, you look at him and you go, okay, you're not jumping into the ring with Israel Adesanya. You're not jumping into the octagon with him. You're going to get KO'd real fast. And then we start looking down on the rankings and other divisions, and you look at the likes of Khamzat. He got elevated to this superstar, but really didn't fight anyone that was savagely brilliant, so he got elevated to where he is. I think he's another special talent. I think the grappling and the tenacity is incredible, but the IQ, the fight IQ just isn't there at the moment. So then we have Bo Nickel. He steps into the UFC, world superstar in terms of wrestling and grappling. He comes in and he starts talking about Khamzat, and like that, we have the media and we have the ex-pundits jumping on him going, whoa, 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 calm down, Bo. You got to do your time. You got to do a couple of years of slogging through nobodies before you can even start talking about Khamzat. Why? Why does he have to do that? Because it's disrespectful? It's about skill sets. Does Bo Nickel have the skill set to go in to the octagon this week and fight Khamzat Chimaev? Yes, he does. Does he have the ability to go in there and win? Yes, he does. Is it going to happen? No, it's not. Because he's going to have to go through 2-3 years before he gets to upper echelon fighters. It's a false construct. It's a fake dichotomy. And it's never been more evident with the Jake Paul becoming a boxer shit. He hasn't even fought a boxer. And like Anthony Smith said, Jake Paul, go fuck yourself.